Nu ska vi få lite case, nu ska vi få det som vi kallar för temakavalkad. Nu ska vi kliva in och titta lite grann på hur det här fungerar i praktiken hemma i Sverige. Och det första exemplet kommer vi få från en tävlingsdeltagare. Alltså nu får vi det yttre perspektivet här. Hur är det att vara med i en tävling? Och tävlingen, ingen större gissning här, Longitude Prize, och den som ska berätta om det heter Johan Mörck. Ge honom en applåd.
Hey, so I would say I represent the other side then, than the ones giving the prizes. Johan Mörck, I'm head of business development and human relations at Q-Linea, and that's a good thing with being a small company, that you can have these unorthodox roles in the companies. We were founded in 2008, starting off with 3 people. We're now 30, so we have grown a bit since then. Our thing is really to identify microorganisms in everything from air to, as we're currently working with blood. We started off with working for the French defense, actually, in finding anthrax in air samples. Quite a thing in Sweden now. We have this anthrax letters, I guess you've heard of. In 2010, we started off working with diagnostics as well, still active in biosecurity, but also in diagnostics. And we've been part of quite a few research projects, both VINNOVA and EU projects. So the Longitude Prize, possibly the mother of all prizes, started off in 1714. I guess it was related to that they had it when they sent off people to India, landing in the US. So the thing was to find this chronograph to invent. In 2014, and we will have a presentation from Nesta later on, I think. Interesting. So last year, at the 300th anniversary of the Longitude Prize, a new prize was announced. This time it was for antibiotics resistance. I guess many of you have heard of it. Possibly not all of you have realized how bad it really actually is. We realized that in 2010, and since then we have worked with it. Antibiotics actually adds 20 years to every person's life in average. In Greece, they are actually they actually isolate people not having resistant infections. So apart from from the Nordic countries and Netherlands, the problem is really bad. Possibly we'll not have the tool antibiotics left in just a few decades from now. And even though it's bad, I mean, there is still things we can do. One thing is to invent new antibiotic substances. It's really difficult from a research and scientific perspective. It's possible, and even if you find a substance, the business model is really, really difficult, since it's about €1 billion to develop a drug. It's highly likely that resistance is developed quite soon after it's been employed. So it is difficult. So we more or less need to manage with the substances we have, and to do that you need diagnostics, not to prescribe antibiotics until it's needed, and this is the whole purpose of the Longitude Prize of 2014. And having worked in this area for 5 years now, it's really challenging. I would say that the need is either to rule out the use of antibiotics. I think 50% of all, respiratory infections are caused by viruses, and still you get, in most cases, you get antibiotics. So that is one solution, to rule out any other infections than bacteria. And the other thing is to pinpoint which antibiotics to use. And it's the latter one we go for. And to give you a reference on how challenging this really is, it's still, today it's about 50 pounds to do these tests. And it takes 2 to 3 days. So it's really, really a challenge. And apart from that, the methods today are really manual. So you need skilled personnel, you need microbiology labs to do this. So it's very challenging. At Q-Linea, we started working with this 5 years ago. We started off with sepsis, which is bloodstream infections for those who don't know. So, which also is really a big problem. 150,000 Europeans die annually from sepsis. And you can realize if you have a bloodstream infection and the antibiotics doesn't work, then you're in really trouble. So this is what we pinpoint. And as I mentioned, it takes 2 days to get the answer today. Mortality increases with 7% per hour, so not too good. Quite depressing, isn't it? Yeah. So this is what it looks today. You draw blood from your patient, put it in a more or less an oven, 37-degree oven. You bake it for 2 days, 1 or 2 days. You take the blood, you start culturing it on a plate, and yet another day after, you can determine which bacteria and which antibiotic to use if it's resistant. And what we try to achieve, or rather will achieve, we have data supporting it now, is to do this in 6 hours instead. So even though we don't meet the very challenging criteria of the Longitude prize yet, we, as it looks, have the best solution possible globally today. So what's in it for us? I mean, we're really not a startup anymore. We're 30 people. We have a bank, a guy in Sweden paying for our bills. So, but say 3 years ago, we were in the feasibility phase. When you have an idea, of course, you know it's going to cost money to get it to market. I would say about $1 million to do a proof of concept. And we actually got financing from VINNOVA to do this part of our journey. The next phase is about 10 million euros. This is where you show that, okay, we have the science works, but could we make it profitable? Could we make a product out of this? And for the last phase, anything between 40 and 400 million dollars, I would say. So for a startup, 10 million British pounds, which is the prize money. I didn't say that for the Longitude prize. Yeah, it's a lot of money. So if you have a great idea that seems to work, this could be the thing to take you to have a low risk, a risk low enough to have venture capital financing the last parts. It could help you get over the value of death, which I guess some of you have heard of, at least. I mean, as I mentioned, getting funding for proof of concept is not too difficult. We have VINNOVA, which is really good, and we have European projects which do the same. But just getting the money for feasibility is really, really difficult. So I think this kind of prizes could really help lots of businesses taking the step from a promising idea to something that actually could hit the market in a few years after that. As I mentioned, we got help from VINNOVA, and we got a bank, which really helped us a lot. But if we won, we would really be helped with that. But for us, it's more of the challenge. I mean, if it's really inspiring, both for us in the management team and for the whole of the co-workers to have the goal to be the ones getting the Longitude prize 300 years later. That would be really, really good. And then you have all these soft values. I mean, I'm here today because we're applying for this. So also from a business development marketing perspective, it's good. Thanks.
A warm hand. We'll take questions afterwards. Just one question for you,
Yep.
Johan. What is the cost of participating in a challenge like this?
Nothing. Apart from we have to invest a few, I would say a few hundreds hours of
And that's not really nothing, is it?
It isn't, but I mean, we're 30 people now, so it's manageable. I mean, 5 years ago, it would have been more difficult.
But somewhere you have to make kind of an risk analysis yourself. If we don't win, we've poured in all this work and we don't get a reward. Do you see some other effects or some positive sides of being a part of a competition that makes it worth it, even if you don't win?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, publicity. I'm here today, and the which is really difficult to measure, the inspiration for the coworkers to actually solve this great problem of the 2000s.
Excellent. So we're going to give you a small reward at least for coming here. And even if I don't think you need it, there is some energy in this box as well. So thank you very much. Thank you, Johan.
Thank you.